Hi, my name's Steve Dew and I'm a head teacher and also the director of Assess Progress. This little video explains how to set up a session in RMCompare. First thing you need to do is log into RMCompare and type in your email and username, type in your password, and then we're going to click log in. What you'll notice about this screen is this is all the sessions that you've either already created, or this will be the start screen for creating your sessions. If you're doing a session with Assess Progress, we'll always start our session names off with Assess Progress. That makes it really easy for us to find and really easy for you to work out which year group your session is with. What we're going to do is we're going to go over to the far right-hand side of the screen here, and we're going to click on Create a New Session. Click that, and it's going to ask us to give the session a name. Now, if you're with Assess Progress, we'll tell you what to call the name of each of your sessions, and they always start with Assess Progress. This time what I'm going to do is I'm going to imagine that I'm a secondary school teacher and I've been teaching A-level geography, and we're going to have a geography session. So I'm going to type in the school name, and we're just going to call this one School X, and I'm going to say this is a geography session, and that's going to be for year 13 because we've been doing some A-level stuff, and we're going to call that one urbanisation. And I always find it really easy to help you find it, and also if you ever want to go back into the session at a later date to get the results, if you choose a date. So we're going to give this one a date on there, and then we don't need to add any judges. This gives us who's already been accepted as a judge, which judges that we're still waiting to accept, and these are the number of files or web pages that have been uploaded into the session. Because we just started the session, they're all on 0, so we're going to create our session from there, and it will move us into the next page, which will give us a basic overview and let us know that the session is starting to prepare in the background. What we can do here is we can write a small description of the session. This just helps any of the judges when they see this session on their screen to work out that that's the one that they need to be judging, or if it's a student, and in this case I'll show you how that works, the students will know where to attach their work. So what we're going to do is we're going to give it a we're going to give it another name on here, and we're going to suggest that this one is response to question number 4, because we've been doing some work in class and we've been concentrating on how to answer correctly question number 4, which is going to be our main statement. Now, in primary school, when we have a holistic statement, it's easier if we have a very broad statement, so that people are using their professional judgments to assess the work that's coming in, and we can moderate that way. I think in secondary schools with something like this, which is going to be student focused, we've got to be really particular. So we're going to ask the students which response best describes positive impact of urbanisation in India. And until we set the session running, we can make as many changes to this as possible at this stage. So I'm going to put of rapid urbanisation there, and just correct those up there, and then I can save my changes before I move on to anything else. If we want to go back at a later date and make some more changes, we can do that, and until we run the session we can keep making the changes all the way up to that point. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the settings. So feedback enable comments on judgment. So this is when you make a judgment on the session, that you can make a comment as to why you've chosen that one or why you haven't chosen that one. As this is for A-level students, I'm going to ask that the students do that, and that they start to, where possible, give me the reason, or give the other students the reason for the judgments on those. I'm not going to make that mandatory. It can slow down some of the process of the judging. Some students can find that quite frustrating. So just every now and again, I'm going to try and encourage them, say every 5, that what I want the students to do is add a judgment, but the compare will ask them for that. And I also want to enable some feedback on items as well, but I'm not going to make that mandatory, and I'm going to save the changes to that, and it's going to send me back to here. I'm then going to click on my judges. Because this is students, A-level students, I want them to upload the work themselves, and I'm only going to have documents, so that could be Google Docs, could be Microsoft Word, could be a PDF, and also web pages if they've created a web or asked them to do that as their answer as part of a blog. We can also attach that to RMCompare, and it can read all of these files in the same way. So I clicked on those. I'm going to set a time to upload. So I'm going to use the calendar to say, well, between Tuesday the 12th, and I'm going to make that midnight. So I'm going to drag all this back and save that one between Tuesday the 12th of April and Tuesday the 19th at midnight. I'm going to give them a week to upload. I do want the judges to see the results, and I'm going to manually set the number of rounds. So what Compare does is it calculates the rounds based on how many files or how many items have been uploaded and how many judges we have. A perfect figure, almost perfect figure, is 20. So we have 20 rounds. So we'll see 20 the work, each piece of work will be seen 20 times. Now, because the students are also the judges, and in this case, I've got 25 students in my class, I want each of those to be the judge, but also I want to put myself in to be a judge on this one. So I get to see all the work and get results as well. So I'm going to have 26 judges. I've got 25 items because each of the students are going to produce one piece each. And I want 20 rounds. That's going to have an estimated judgment. So each judge is going to see 9 pieces of work. Now, because what we're looking for is metacognition with this, what I do want is I want the judges to see, I want my students to see as many of the different pieces of work as possible. So I'm actually going to make that slightly more. So I'm going to put 28 rounds, and they're going to see 13 they're going to have to make 13 judgments. So they're going to see 13 lots of paired scripts in front of them. And it'll be plenty enough for reliability scores to be super high. And everyone judging the same. So I close my calculator there. Can end the session early if everyone's done that and everyone's got enough information and the algorithms have already worked out that it's a fairly reliable session in terms of the students assessing each other or moderating each other to be relatively similar. I can end that early, but I think that'd be really useful. Now we move on to add judges. So I've come back up to the top, save that session. I'm going to add judges. This time I'm going to invite them by email. And all I need here is a list of all the names of the students. I'm just going to type them in on a separate line and then invite the judges. When we invite the judges, or when the judges are invited, they get a pre-email which says that they're about to take part in a session and be prepared to get their invite to the session when the session goes live. If it's the first time that a judge has been invited to a session, it'll ask them to set up a username in RMCompare, and it'll give them a links to do that. That takes no more than a minute, and then they'll be into the system. That's one way we can add judges. Another way is we can invite them from a previous session. These are all the sessions that Assess Progress have been doing. If I click on one of these, that would give me all 57 judges that were in that one. So if it's your geography class in year 13 and it's class A, you might be able to click on that and it would automatically invite those judges that were in the last or previous session. And what you might want to do is just add 1 or 2 more in at that point. I'm going to do that one. I'm going to invite myself as a judge for this one, and then I would invite them by email. And this time, add items. So either I could add all the items or add the web pages. There's another video that we're going to show you how to do that. but this is if the teacher was uploading. For this session, we've allowed the judges to upload, so this is the students can upload their own work themselves, and we would expect them to do that as part of the process. So we don't need to add any items. What we need to do is go back, once we've done that, save the changes, check here that our holistic statement is all right, and that we're happy with that. I'm going to just change that in Delhi, be a really specific question. And then I'm going to save the changes there. And that's me setting up my session.